we're sitting in this bar full of strangers, and then he tells me that I should smile more. And I start arguing. I am extremely frustrated, and before I know it, I start crying. My mascara is running, my voice is shaking, and then we kiss. Well, no, not quite. That is actually just the name of the podcast.
Julia and a guy sitting in a tree. Kissing.
Welcome back. My name is Julia, and you're listening to And Then We Kiss, a podcast on the funny, the unforgettable, and the confusing stories of my kiss list. I'm sitting here with Sophie.
Hello.
She's my roommate and one of my closest friends, and she has had the pleasure of witnessing this story from the first row.
This one's kneecaps I wanted to kick in extra hard, but I didn't because we don't do that.
Yes, she wiped away a lot of my tears. We're actually talking about number 84 today. A man who made me cry not once, not twice, but 3 times in total. And it was a very short time that I knew him.
We don't even know why you did let it go that long.
I mean, I have a hunch, but before we dive into it, let me just preface by saying that today's episode touches on some moments of slight manipulation and situations that weren't fully consensual. It's not an extreme or graphic story, but it is a bit heavier than usual. And if that is not something you want to listen to right now, no worries at all. I will see you in the next episode. As always, we're not trying to make anyone out as the bad guy. There is no right or wrong. We only have my side of the story and how I remember it. We also have changed details to protect the privacy of everyone involved.
And we have cute little nicknames.
We do, and the nickname for today's guy is Felip, because I felt like he looked like a Felip.
Can we get to the fun little drinks now? I'm already uncomfortable talking about this guy.
Fair. Sophie, tell me, what are you drinking today?
As I already had a lot of sugar and caffeine and soda today, I'm actually drinking anti-oxidative juice. Stay healthy, everybody.
#health. I, on the other hand, have decided to drink coffee because we're gonna go clubbing later and I am tired as fuck. But to make it fun, I am drinking coffee out of a martini glass.
Which is really the least fun way to drink a drink because it's a martini glass and you spill it when you pick it up.
But I feel extremely pretty
And
with
by
it.
you, I mean me. Which is why I'm not drinking out of a martini glass, but you do look
Cheers.
pretty.
Let's cheers. Be careful, girl. Okay, that was a really, really careful cheers.
ASMR. Juice unscrewing. Hell yeah.
I needed that coffee. It's like 5 p.m. or so.
You sound like a wall tattoo when you say that.
Like a wall tattoo.
I love coffee.
I'm not gonna further dive into that actually. So let's actually just get right into it. With no further ado, here we are talking about Felip.
The number 84.
Number 84.
I actually do listen to you sometimes.
Oh my god, and actually no, true, because he was like the day after Himbro. Episode 1 we talked about Himbro, number 83. And Himbro and Felip happened on 2 consecutive days.
So we were already emotionally unstable at that point.
We are getting ahead of ourselves though, so let's just start from the beginning, maybe. So it's a colder year of the day and it's fairly early in the morning. It's maybe 8 or 9 a.m. or so, and I am walking to something and I'm a little late, and because it is cold I am wearing my boots. We know my boots. For anyone who has seen some pictures of me on Instagram, I also really like wearing them. I like posting them.
We love the boots.
We love the boots. Amazing boots. And I remember that this guy was on a bicycle and he was kind of like riding up behind me, and then he slowed down when he was on my height, I guess, and then he was going in my tempo, but he was still on his bicycle, and he was kind of gesturing for me to take off my headphones, so I do, and then he just like kind of starts talking to me. I don't remember exactly what he said, but essentially he said that I looked nice.
It's early in the morning and somehow you're already talking to strangers.
Are we surprised? I'm extroverted through and through.
I also don't remember what he said, but we all remember a certain phrase that followed.
Do not get ahead of ourselves here. This is not for another couple of minutes.
Okay.
So he starts talking to me. He tells me that I look kind of cute and if I was interested in giving him my number because he would like to get to know me.
Yeah.
A very typical pickup. But I, at that point, had not experienced a lot of people picking me up. I think men are scared of me, and I think that's why they don't really talk to me on the streets.
It's also not really a German thing, is it?
It's not, for sure not. I mean, some Germans do, but it's definitely not like a typical thing that you see especially not in Bavaria.
Yeah.
Especially not in the town that we're from. it's just not a done thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Everybody's all formal and stuff.
Too formal, my god. Anyway, this guy asked for my number. I kind of like look him up and down and I'm like, how old are you?
Valid question.
He told me his age. He was a couple of years older than I was at that point. So I was in my mid-20s and he was 9 years older, he told me. And I think it is on a slight uncomfortable range of an age gap, but I think it's still fine. Personal preference.
Yeah, I think that's always to be judged individually.
Yeah, for me, still okay. My very next follow-up question was how old he thought that I was, because
that question is always a fucking minefield, because what are you supposed to answer?
He actually guessed it right.
Wild.
He guessed it right.
Lucky guy.
Because if he would have said like way younger, then I for sure would have not given him my number.
That would have been a massive red flag, because why are you targeting young girls?
Exactly. Exactly. If he would have thought that I was 21, which also has happened before. People have thought that I was like beginning 20s or so when I was mid 20s. If he would have thought that I was beginning 20s, then I would have felt way too uncomfortable to give this man my number. But he guessed it right, so we're all good. So I give him my number, and all of this is happening within like 2 minutes, mind you, because I am late.
Yeah.
So I give him my number and I just kind of like run off, and he drives off on his bicycle.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day, a couple of hours later, I had already told the group chat, the Casanovas, of course, that someone had asked for my number, because again, this really never happens.
We get live updates of everything that is happening in your life.
I also get live updates from you guys,
That's
mind
true.
you. I do give more.
But my point is, you didn't just text because it never happened before.
I text for
yapping purposes.
Anyway, a couple of hours have passed. I was confused why the man wasn't texting, because I was like, are you interested or not?
Yeah.
But then he did actually text. And I think one of the first things that he said was, hey, sexy lady in the sexy boots.
Right. Oh my god. And that is no offense to millennials. Such a millennial thing to say, because what the hell are you even doing?
I'm sorry. Who gave you a phone and then gave you permission to text that?
Exactly.
What is wrong with you? On so many levels.
Sexy lady and
That
that
is-
is sexy boots.
It has the same vibe as using emojis, literally.
Yeah.
Like, I just took some food out of my fridge emoji,
Food
and now I'm
emoji.
gonna make something in the pan emoji, and then I shall eat it on my plate emoji.
I'm not retarded. I know what a pan looks like.
I don't know if we should say the word retarded. Isn't that like a no-go now?
True.
You are not stupid.
I'm not. Is that offensive to low IQ people? I'm not stupid. I know what a pan looks
Offensive to him, bro.
It's offensive to him, bro.
So, extremely cringe. Very first cringe text message.
Flo and I ripped him apart in the group chat
Immediately.
for that.
It was the right thing to do with this man. So we only have a small exchange, but he really is texting like a millennial, and I'm getting the ick, because I actually did think that he was quite charming in person,
Yeah.
or else I wouldn't have given him my number.
Yeah.
I also think he looked somewhat attractive, but then in text it was terrible.
And I think we actually encouraged you at this point, because you get the ick a lot when guys are texting. It's a thing. The way that guys text often give you the ick.
It really does.
Yeah, and it's an established thing, and so we said, don't let it translate to real life. Just meet up with him and let's see where it
Or
goes.
just kind of give him a chance, kind of see what happens, whatever. And I remember actually that Sophie and I went to my parents' place that evening.
Right.
We had dinner at
Side quest.
side quest indeed. And I remember that while we were walking to my parents' house, we were on the phone with Flo, and I was just kind of like, what the fuck is up with this man?
Yeah.
I was telling him all of the details. Flo was then encouraging me to give it a chance. Sophie was yelling something profane in the background. the
Yeah, we
usual.
were in a really quiet neighborhood.
And you could hear Sophie 10 blocks away or so. Nothing unusual. I told my mum about it. My mum kind of like raised her eyebrow questioningly, didn't really say much more. So next morning, I wake up to messages from Felip that are kind of like, he's sending me like a picture of him in his garden.
Yeah.
And he's like explaining to me in extreme detail what he's doing.
He's texting like my mom for real. He's like, look at this pretty flower.
And I sent a screenshot into the Casanovas group chat where I had messaged Felip and said like, hey, really great meeting you, and I thought that we had a really nice vibe in person, but now I'm not feeling the vibe via text. So I wish you all the best. Cool thing that you asked for my number. Don't stop with that, because I wanted to be nice.
Yeah.
When I'm saying no, and I didn't want him to feel discouraged.
And it could have just ended there.
It could have just ended there.
But then.
His immediate response was kind of like, oh, come on, give me a chance.
And you were like, sure.
I didn't text him back for a couple of hours, and then he double texted me and was like, how about a drink next week? And I said, how does it look for you that you need to try and make me go on a drink with you?
Yeah.
And his response was, I don't have to make you do anything. Okay, well, I'm sorry, how old are you again? What is happening?
Mid-30s, but okay.
Mid-30s, my guy. What was that for, like, a childish response?
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, hot.
Wow.
No, I wasn't. I think we texted a bit back and forth. It kind of evened out again. And I remember because, again, he had texted me on a Friday. We're texting on Saturday. I'd like given him my rejection. I said no. And then on Sunday, I had that date with him, bro. That went like terribly wrong. And I woke up Monday and I was feeling so empty. I was feeling so, I don't know, I just wanted some dopamine, I guess. I just wanted something good to happen.
Fair.
And he was like on my beck and call, essentially.
Yeah.
And so I had said, you know what, are you up? Like, are you free tonight? And I had said yes. And so we decided to meet up at one of my regular bars.
Yeah.
The day goes by. I think I hit the gym real quick beforehand, and then we meet up at my regular bar. And immediately I'm like, okay, wow, he really is very charming in person. Like, this is amazing. And we're having a really good time. He talks a lot, but he also asks questions. I felt very comfortable with him. I also felt slightly on edge, but I in general felt quite comfortable.
Yeah, the edginess might have come from the evening before, maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know where the discomfort in my body is coming from in that moment.
Yeah.
I can tell that it's happening, but I can also tell that I do feel comfortable with him. I was quite amazed by him, I'm not gonna lie, because I felt blown away, because I mean I was deep in my hoe phase for sure,
Yeah.
but we had not met on a dating app, and with a dating app all of your intentions are like cleared out right on the table from the get-go. And because we had not met on a dating app but he had asked for my number, I had no idea what his intentions were. I was blown away by him because he had a lot of similarities to my life.
Yeah.
He was also extremely interested in other cultures. He had lived abroad in like a couple of different countries, and not just your like typical countries, you know. He had a really impressive degree that also coincided with some values of mine.
Yeah.
He had a somewhat impressive job. I was just generally impressed by him.
Yeah,
you know?
and you went from feeling absolutely nothing in morning to feeling extremely positive things in the evening. So it's understandable how you made that jump and how that felt especially good on that day.
And then I did text into Casanova's group chat. I went to the toilet.
Guys, I think he's my soulmate.
In all caps, I think he's my soulmate. Oh my God, I think I just met my soulmate. Leave it to me to go from 0 to 100 within seconds. Listen, it was a vulnerable time. I don't know. I'm known for being very emotional. You know what? I stand by that message, even if I'm slightly embarrassed now looking back. But whatever. I was really hopeful. This was extremely exciting to me, because also in the hometown that I live in, at that point in time, I had not met that many people that had their life figured out and that had similar values to mine.
Fair.
And that were like just as open-minded and just as intercultural thinking and everything.
Yeah.
But then like other things, you know, like it just felt like everything was fitting right.
Yeah.
And then he told me to smile more.
Like right after the soulmate message.
Not necessarily right after, but
But emotionally right after the soulmate thought.
And I was just like, what the fuck? Because at that point, that had been like the third guy within a couple of months that had told me on a date to smile more.
Yeah.
I was not happy.
No. And also imagine looking at someone with those hard eyes and then he knocks you off your feet.
It's also just not nice for you to say, because it did take me a lot of conversations with my mom, with you, with Flo.
Yeah.
It took me a lot of time to process that. It's deeply uncomfortable when a man is sitting in front of you and he feels like he has the right to your smile.
It is so presumptuous.
Yeah.
Because what are you? Who do you think you are? If you want me to smile more, make me smile.
That's the thing. I did tell him in that moment, like, how about you tell me a joke then?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And he kind of made this entire discussion about, like, you know, if you're on a date, you're gonna use your body language and stuff to, like, communicate that you're interested.
Yeah.
And so in the way that he was coming up in the debate, I did feel like he had a point. Now looking back, I'm like, listen, if you don't like my natural body language,
then we are not fit for each other.
You shouldn't be on a date with me.
But I understand that you felt like he was right, because it is or was an insecurity of yours that sometimes your facial expressions get misinterpreted, or that you generally don't use as much face expressions as other people. And you have been criticized before for that.
That was a third guy.
Yeah, so it's understandable that you think at some point, maybe I am the problem, maybe it is me.
Like in that moment, I really was like, am I the problem?
Yeah.
Does this man actually have like a foot to stand on, a leg to stand on?
Yeah.
He really did catch me in a perfect time with that. And like I said, it took me a long time to get over that and to just kind of understand that just because you feel uncomfortable in the moment and you don't know where I stand, doesn't mean that I need to change anything I'm doing.
It's also really not your responsibility to emotionally carry a grown-ass man along.
For sure not. It's good that you are not sure where I stand. I'm not going to start fawning over you, because the other thing is, one of the reasons, because I actually stopped smiling a lot on dates a couple of years before that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I had stopped doing that was because I felt like I had been kind of brought up in this gender role as a woman that I should always be smiling. I should always use like a lot of facial expressions to communicate my interest.
Yeah.
Essentially what he was criticizing. And I had stopped doing that because I noticed that I was concentrating more on having appropriate facial expressions in the moment than I was concentrating on how did I feel.
Yeah.
I ended up in situations that I didn't feel good in then.
It's that kind of thing of, do they like me? And where you should have asked, do I like them?
Exactly. And so on the one hand, it really was like a thing that I had decided on purpose.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, also I did question if he was right. So we had a debate about it. I ended up crying because of the comment, because it just had hit me. I was also really emotional at the time, independently of him. I don't think I would cry now, but like, given everything, I started crying in that regular bar. I didn't feel too well. We talked about it. I understood his side. He understood mine. He paid and we left.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was walking me home. My God, this man. So many stuff is coming up. And the way he was walking me home wasn't in this like, let me walk you home, or do you feel okay with me walking you home? But he was making this grand gesture out of the fact that he wanted to walk me home, but he didn't want me to feel uncomfortable with me like showing him where I lived. And like the content of what he was saying wasn't necessarily wrong. It was just the way he was almost performing being a feminist.
Oh my God, my knight in shining armor. You only made me cry once today.
Listen, it's a bare minimum for me. No, but I don't know. I felt really weird, but also I was just thinking, okay, this is nice, you know. He doesn't want me to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
again.
Sure.
So I guess whatever. He did walk me home because, as we know, I don't care if people know where I live, apparently. And I remember that he was like building up physical touch, like he had his arm around me. In the end, we were standing at a point, and it was one of those conversations where you couldn't just like stop talking.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of standing there smiling like idiots kind of thing. And I know that he was like kind of touching me, but it was like in a really weird way. But yeah, I don't know. We ended up not kissing.
Yeah.
And I just kind of said goodnight, that's it, you know, whatever, went home. I nonetheless felt like I had left the date on a good note. I was really happy, even though I had cried.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was really emotional at the time, and like in that moment, it all just kind of made sense.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, one-off, I cry, whatever. It's not the first time that I cried in that bar either, so it's especially in that you remember.
Yeah.
Like, I was also texting group chat stuff like, I've already scheduled in crying for this weekend.
Yeah, we've been together while you cried in that bar.
Yes.
That's why all of us, and you especially, didn't put a lot of weight in that you cried.
I don't think that we didn't take it serious enough. I think rather all of us were waiting on more information to make a judgment call on the situation.
Probably. I mean, I'm always the fastest of us three to say, fuck it, block him. But
For sure.
But like, it takes less than that. It takes less than making Julia cry. And I've been dialing it back.
Yes.
And I'm learning too. So
yes. Because I told her.
I didn't scream block him yet.
Because I told her, like, I can't block them all.
Yeah.
Even if you want me to. Sophie gets, like, really overprotective of me. Which is a really difficult job to do if I'm, like, crying all the time, I will say.
It's not easy protecting that bitch.
Good times. So, a couple of weeks go by. I know that he's like really busy. I'm really busy. We kind of keep missing each other. We do text a little bit, but we did kind of decide, because I hated the way he texted, we did decide that we wouldn't text a lot.
Yeah.
Just because there was really a lot of room for me to completely misinterpret what he was saying. For example, sexy lady with sexy boots.
God damn it.
Disgusting. Anyway, like I said, a couple of weeks go by. I think we had a date scheduled for one evening and then he had to cancel because something came up with work.
Yeah.
And then, I think like a week after that or so, we had spontaneously found time again to see each other. And this is where it gets important. So I said, are you free tonight? I could meet up around 8:30.
Yeah.
He said, sounds good. Couple of hours go by. So I am translating this out of my head, so I'm not going to get this 100% right. But I think that he said something like, when?
Yeah, fair.
But I think in the way that he phrased it in German, it could have either been interpreted as, when are we meeting? Or when do you want to leave? Like, how long do you want the date to go for?
Yeah.
Like I said, in German, it's a different thing. But I was a little confused. So I asked him, like, do you mean for how long?
Yeah.
And he kind of said in this, like, really, like, slightly condescending tone. He was like, the question for when means that the person asking the question wants to know when you are meeting up with them. And he said that in, like, such a condescending tone.
There is no need for that. Just clarify what you meant. Why do you have to be a dick about it?
Yeah, just say, like, oh, I meant this.
Yeah.
And then this discussion followed because also I was not having it. And I was like, apparently you cannot read either. Like, I highlighted the message where it said around 8:30. And then we got into this, like, bickering match where we were talking about the most stupidest detail. Neither one of us was backing off. It was really stupid. He was being extremely condescending.
It was. I remember that.
And it got to a point within like maybe 5 or 6 messages where he was like, you know what, I actually find the way you are handling this right now really unattractive, so let's just not meet up tonight.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, everyone calm down. And so I immediately said, okay, you know what, listen, you and I both know that we're not good at texting each other. There's a lot of room for interpretation that we are getting wrong. So how about we meet up and we talk then? Like, I'm sorry for what happened. Let's discuss this in person.
Which was a good solution at the time, because if you just left it at that, you would have been overthinking it and it would be shitty anyways.
Yeah, actually, good point. Good point. Also, I know from me that sometimes I do misinterpret messages in a way that they probably don't mean it. I misinterpret your messages sometimes to be more aggressive than they actually were. Right? So I know for myself that it's a lot easier for me to talk to people in person to really understand what they mean.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people misinterpret my messages because I just kind of choose to not use emojis. So everything I say either sounds extremely aggressive or like ironic or just like I sometimes I text it like a dad.
Welcome back to does she hate me
or not?
Or is she just texting the way she does?
Yeah. So I backed down and we had said that we were going to meet up in maybe 30 minutes or so at that point. I remember sending a screenshot of the chat into Casanovas and both Flo and Sophie were just going off about like, how can you fight about this detail?
Yeah.
And I felt a felt a little like hurt because I was like, hey, I backed down. and I said that. And you guys like, no, and you did. And that's good. And that's good. And then I felt better.
We were so proud of you.
Yeah. And so we go to this bar that's close to my place. I'm kind of waiting outside on him. He comes up and he kind of asked me how I'm doing. And I wasn't feeling too well, obviously, because of the fight that we just had. Kind of go inside, we order our drinks, and then I think he immediately like goes into a completely different topic, and I was like, I'm sorry, can we talk about what just happened?
Yeah.
And he immediately starts this entire discussion with words like, everyone that I know thinks this way, you know?
Oh, we
and,
hate
like,
that.
In the German language, grammatically correct.
Absolutely hate that, because it's about your feelings.
Yes.
The discussion, not what is
Yes.
objectively right or wrong in German grammar. What the fuck?
Also, it's not, I'm sorry, but that's also the completely wrong way of going about it if you're trying to build a connection with someone. It doesn't really matter where you want this to go to.
Why are you comparing them to society? What the hell?
It's also just really weird because it's not about right or wrong. It's not
No.
about who used the right way of like using the German language. It's about what did you mean, what did I mean,
Yeah.
where did we go wrong, you know, how can we avoid this in the future?
Yeah.
And it was this really weird way of focusing on the completely wrong things. This is not what we're talking about. But he went on this entire rabbit hole of like, all of my friends think this way, everyone would agree, in the German language, grammatically correct.
I remember
You were in
that
the
we
wrong.
mauled him to death for that 1-2 in the chat.
Yeah. And so, you know, I had maybe been sitting down for 5 minutes at that point, immediately started crying. Because I'm just getting so frustrated because I think it was like a Monday or so, okay? And I was so tired.
Which strikes the second instance of Julia crying because of this
Oh
man.
my God, for sure. Like, take a shot every time.
Yeah.
No, but like, I start crying again. I'm overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. I'm like, I feel like no matter what I am saying, he is not hearing what I'm saying because I know that I can be, like, I can misunderstand people quite quickly.
Yeah.
But I also know from myself that when I am like in person, I try to go the harmonious way where I'm like, listen, I know where you're coming from, but I am talking about like this. We are talking about my emotions right now.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't about right or wrong. Essentially, everything that I had just said, I was trying to tell him. It's not in like an aggressive manner, but just in a like, hey, I think you're misunderstanding where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And he was not hearing me. He went on with his arguments, and so I started crying. And it's this really intimate bar as well.
Yeah.
Really terrible setting. He kind of stops everything that he's doing and he gets like really concerned. And I had told him that I can get quite overstimulated and whatever, right? And so this man goes, oh, are you overstimulated right now? Should we leave? And everyone that I had told this story to, the first thing that they thought was, oh, that is such a nice thing. But I don't think that was nice because for me, that was like you don't understand that I'm crying because of what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And
it's
like
pushing responsibility away from him and
Yes.
on
Yes.
the way your brain works.
Yeah, where it's like, it didn't even cross his mind that I was maybe crying because of something
Yeah.
he had said or the way he had said it. No, his first thought was, oh, this is an overstimulating thing for her because she is so sensitive.
Yeah.
Which is really disrespectful.
It is.
I did not like it. We kind of, I don't know how, but we kind of finished the argument. He tries to like make up with me again, and I can tell that in the entire way he's talking to me, he's trying to be nice, he's trying to be there for me.
Yeah.
He's trying to like lighten the mood again, and I am like ever so slowly letting him. We talk about things. We get to the point of like intentions. It's very clear that he doesn't think that we could be in a relationship.
Yeah.
I kind of felt a little sad in that moment.
Because you still held on to that soulmate thought from the first time.
Like, his reasoning also felt just very belittling. Like, I want to have children. I'm at a very stable point in my life. You are not.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And you can phrase it in different ways. He wasn't wrong, but just the way he phrased it felt very condescending and belittling.
Just say we want different things. Something like that. And
I
then-
actually had a guy after him tell me something very similar, and he said it in a very respectful way, where it's just like, it just feels like you're in a place where you're like figuring a lot of things out, and I have already done that, and I don't want to currently do that, or whatever.
Yeah.
The way that the other guy said it was really nice. The way that fucking Felip said it was not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so for real at this point. I don't know why I cried again. I remember that I cried a third time.
Yeah.
In total. The second time in that bar. I know that it was because of something he had said, but I don't know what it was. I have no idea. I've combed through the chats. I've deleted the chat with him, but I've combed through the Casanovas chat. I've combed through like everything that I'd written down.
Yeah.
Do not remember shit. So I know I cried a third time. I know it was because of him, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think at this point we can also imagine
The type of stuff he
Yes.
said.
Yes.
Because he was really poking all of your insecurities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really was. So we kind of wrap it up. He pays again. Again, we're close to my house, so I don't know why, but we go back to my place. I remember feeling really overwhelmed, emotional, confused. I kind of didn't want it to end. I kind of did want it to end. It was one of those things, you know, he was manipulating me in a way where I felt like I was at fault.
Yeah.
I was the sensitive one. And he's also kind to deal with that.
Exactly the way of thinking he put
Yes.
projecting on you.
And I really want to put out a disclaimer. I'm not trying to say that he did any of this on purpose. I'm not trying to say he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
This is not facts. This is memories.
Yeah.
I really just want to like put it out there. In the way the entire evening had gone, I was not able to recognize in that moment that for me, he was the issue. So we go back to my place. I think that you were asleep at that point.
I didn't meet him.
No, you definitely didn't.
No.
So I show him the flat. We're in my room. We're kind of like sitting opposite of each other. And he kind of wants me to come closer to like build up physical touch. I feel emotionally a wreck. I feel just so exhausted. I just kind of like, okay, whatever. He's kind of like massaging my foot. It's weird. I remember the next thing he does is he's kind of like holding onto my arm or something. And I remember that at some point we were kind of standing up and we were in this weird hug thing. And he had already been doing that while sitting and also while standing. He was like, he would like bite me.
There are so many weird nuances to that guy. I forgot. Oh my god.
He would bite me, but like not like hard.
Yeah.
Not that it would hurt. You could interpret it to be a love bite. Given the situation, it was extremely not fitting.
Again.
But I
Yeah.
have bitten people in consensual contexts like
course.
that, where people, you know,
Biting itself isn't the
understood
problem.
the intimacy point of it.
But it's so out of context again.
It was so out of context, and he was just kind of like he was holding on to my foot, massaging it, and then he would kind of like pick up my leg and like slightly bite into my ankle, and I was, and it was so weird, and I was so uncomfortable, and it really was like a fawning moment where I was so overwhelmed with everything going on, I could not pinpoint that what was going on was him.
Yeah.
And so I was just letting it happen. I remember we were like standing, we were kind of weirdly hugging. He was maybe biting my shoulder, my neck or something. And then we kissed, and it was really, I don't know. It was not passion, I can tell you that.
No.
It was deeply uncomfortable.
It may have been comfort of some kind because you didn't pinpoint that it was him who freaked you out at that moment. So
Yes.
you leaned on him for comfort that he couldn't
Yes.
provide because he was the problem.
That is actually a really good way of putting it.
Yeah.
It really was that. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't know he was the reason, and I was looking for comfort from him, for sure. Especially knowing that you were asleep.
Yeah.
Because I think if I would have known that you were awake, I would have probably ended the date outside and then just gone up and like gotten comfort from you.
Yeah.
And I remember also that he was kind of saying that I seemed uncomfortable and like I wasn't opening myself up to physical touch, and he just wants to touch me. And like, you know, in the way he phrased it in the moment, it really did not seem like a massive red flag, because I think that was also the big issue with him. Nothing he did was like outright, immediately visible, black, white, this is bad.
Yeah. In hindsight, he sounds really entitled. Like he's entitled to your smile,
Yes.
entitled to your touch, entitled to your
Yes.
happiness. But yeah, it didn't came across as that.
Where there's also no visible acknowledgement that I might seem uncomfortable because of him.
Yeah.
He was putting on this performative feminist act without realizing that I might be uncomfortable because of his actions.
Yeah, because he's so good at performing feminism,
Yes.
he can't be the problem.
Can't be the problem. Because on the one hand, he wants to make sure that I feel comfortable showing him where I live. On the other hand, there's no one moment where he's like, oh, maybe she feels so tense and is not like willing for physical touch because of me.
Yeah.
I think it got late, and I think I also used it as an excuse to like essentially throw him out.
Yeah.
He leaves the apartment. I feel so empty. I feel so weird. I am just kind of like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
And I think I stayed up for a little bit longer to just kind of process, but I obviously didn't quite know what had happened. Like, I couldn't make sense of it all. And I went to bed because I had an early start again the next day. I know that we texted about it in the group chat, and I think that I must have told you the next morning at breakfast or so when we saw each other.
Probably.
But I just remember feeling really weird the next day. And I know that I didn't talk to you guys extensively about it. Usually, before I make a decision about guys, I usually talk to Flo and Sophie about it.
Yeah.
I process emotionally by talking to people.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of like really in my day-to-day. So I would usually just talk to you guys about it. I think that I actually talked to my mum on lunch break about the you should smile more thing.
Yeah.
Because I was just feeling so weird. And I think the more distance I was getting, the more clarity I was gaining. And so I sent him a message the day after where I was like, listen, it was really nice seeing you. It was really nice meeting you, but I don't think we're compatible. So I wish you all the best. And I remember putting in like a smile and I remember being very nice.
Yeah.
And he likes the message. And then he said, I see it exactly the same. Full stop. Next line. Bye. So I don't know, he was being so rude in the way as well. He could have said like it wasn't his usual way of texting.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because he was a big emoji user.
Yeah, yet again, you do trigger each other per text. We know
Yes.
that, but I get that it felt weird and you didn't feel emotionally
Yeah.
taken care of.
Yeah. I don't like what he did in the end. It felt passive aggressive. Also in the way it happened and the way I interpret his actions. I felt like he was not happy that he couldn't end it, and I felt like he wouldn't have ended it if I didn't.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't think so either.
I think he would have ended it like way further down the line.
Yeah, because there was never a lot of reflection happening on
No.
his side.
No.
Not that we know of.
I mean, usually at this point in the episode, we kind of talk about red flags, but
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely talked about his red flags extensively.
Yeah, we did.
Manipulative, a little bit gaslighty,
A little
for
just
sure,
really
boundary crossing.
yeah, full of himself somehow.
Entitled.
yeah.
What do you think my red flags were? Like, what do you think I could have done differently looking back?
Again, I see how you got in that situation. I really
Yeah.
do. I know that it was a really emotional time for you. It's always easy to say in hindsight, but it's so obvious. How couldn't you see
Yeah.
that coming?
Like, if you cry on the first date, you shouldn't go on a second date.
yeah,
but
that's what I
given-
said back then. So I was like, he made you cry,
Yeah.
block him.
But, like, given the context of it all.
Yeah, given the context of it all, I don't think you could have protected yourself from that, because he was really good at poking all your insecurities.
Met me in the right moment.
He met you in the right moment. I think it was kind of a dangerous encounter for Julia back then. Yeah, but it was kind of predatory in a way. Not like sexually, obviously, but emotionally. It feels like he used you to,
Make himself feel better.
yeah, to make himself feel better.
I think realistically, if I were to meet him now, it would have never gotten to the second date because
No.
I'm at a better point currently.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more emotionally stable currently. I do think I did definitely the best that I could, and I don't think that I necessarily handled it the wrong way. I didn't want to jump to any conclusions too quickly. Nothing too bad happened, right? I did call it off as soon as I
Yeah.
kind of realized what was going on, and I do think that I recognized the information correctly fairly quickly. 2 dates is a long time, but still.
Yeah, I mean, a general tip I could maybe give
Yes.
in such situations. General tip. If people make accusations like that, compare them to the other resources in your life.
Which
Like,
accusations?
You don't smile enough.
Oh, yeah.
Compare them to other resources in your life, because
Like other people?
Other people.
Mhm.
As a close friend to Julia, I can say that it's really fucking easy making her smile and laugh. And I can also say that while she does get social interactions wrong sometimes, that it's
Yeah.
also really fucking easy to clear that shit up without making her cry. And I think as a general tip, think about the people who it's easy living with and who work with those insecurities and don't make them feel so bad anymore.
I think that's a good point. As soon as someone kind of points out a flaw, maybe talk to the people around you that you trust, where you know
Yeah.
that you don't have issues like that with.
Yeah.
Because also I do think that I have shown time and time again that for the most part, I'm someone that you can really talk to.
Yeah.
You know, I like to clear shit up immediately.
Yeah.
And I try to make sure that everyone feels heard and understood. And so also for the way that him and I were fighting, that was not a good sign.
No.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to just like keep talking to the support system that you have around.
Yeah, that has proven to be
like easy to deal with. It really is a heavy topic. I feel like it's definitely not, like I said in the beginning, it's not like a graphic or extreme story, but it feels unsettling.
It is unsettling.
Just how far it could have gone. Also, I think if I would have been way younger, I think I might have ended up in a relationship with him.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't interested in a relationship with me, but I could also see a type like him to kind of say that, to then go in a relationship with me and be like, you know, you should feel so grateful that I am giving you terms. Yeah, that was not so good. And like I said, it really took me a long time, especially the "you should smile more" comment took me a long time to figure out. I think the rest was pretty obvious. For me, the rest was like, okay, you shouldn't have bitten me, you know?
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking clear. And I think as soon as it's black and white, it's easy for me to just kind of understand what happened and move on.
Yeah.
But it's like, was the "you should smile more."
Yeah.
It took me a lot of conversations. I know that my mom talked to me on a lot of lunch breaks.
That is such a disgusting thing to say, and it's such a man thing to say. If a man says that to you, just turn around and run.
Don't ever let a man tell you to smile more. Smile less.
Yeah, smile less.
Throw a drink into his face. Maybe don't, but like leave. Just leave. I mean, my God, as soon as a man says that, that is just... Because I would never say to a man, "you should smile more."
Yeah, who would say that to anyone, to be fair?
Honestly.
I wouldn't even say that to friends or like a stranger I have no intention of dating, but just talking to at a party or something.
Yes.
Please smile more. I feel uncomfortable with the way.
I don't know if you actually want to be in this conversation, so could you maybe change your facial expression so I understand?
What the hell?
Maybe you should maybe you should read like learn how to read body language, my guy.
Yeah.
I think going forward, because so that is also one of the big things with me, is that a lot of the times I kind of see that they are not like 100% a bad guy. But I think going forward, I don't even want one stupid thing.
No, because at the end of the day, they're just strangers.
Kiss, marry, kill.
Kill.
Disclaimer, we don't want to marry or kill anyone.
Kill it!
Feel the need to always say that, just to make sure that it's not taken
Maybe
out
not
of
kill him.
context.
Put him in a glass jar and shake it really hard. That's my verdict for this man.
Kill.
All right.
This was a heavier topic for sure, but I can tell you this was also the only heavy topic and the only heavy episode of this season. We do have a lot of like more fun and lighthearted episodes coming up, maybe one or two that are like a little bit serious but also fun, but this was the most serious. Yeah, so that was my take on everything that happened with Felip. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it, especially today. If you have any thoughts or concerns, feel free to leave a comment.
We're all concerned.
We are also all concerned. You can also follow me on my socials for more background infos and stuff like that. Hit follow if you want to hear more of my dating experiences. In 2 weeks, there will actually be a new voice on this podcast, my best friend Katja, and her and I will be discussing our love-hate relationship with condoms. Until then, kiss someone consensually, don't bite them, unless it's consensual, and DM me the details. Bye for now. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.